Good evening, YouTube. Hardball Crazy come back to the video on a cold, rainy night in mid-Michigan. Tonight, got a really cool mail day to tell you about. I got this card about a week or so in the mail, and it checks off a huge box in my collection. This is, you see the title, it's my first Fed. You may know by if I collect by baseball card collection, I kind of represent my collection kind of try to represent baseball history. So every little bit of major baseball history um, things out there, I try to showcase in my collection that happen to baseball history, sometimes American history too. Sometimes they kind of intersect. My first Fed is my first Federal League card, George Mulligan of the Indianapolis Hoosiers. You may recognize George Mulligan more so as a Detroit Tiger pitcher. This is I think my first ever tobacco card, T205. He was the ace of the Tigers pitting winning teams at 07, 09. Workhorse pitcher and a bit of a on the wild side. A very good pitcher in his heyday, but not a Hall of Famer. But he's still the all-time list and amongst the all-time list in Detroit Tiger pitching records, and he's actually the author of the first ever Detroit Tiger no-hitter. After his playing days in Detroit, he jumped the American League into the new Federal League, where they promised more money, free agency including. No longer get away from the reserve clause, where the players basically are owned by the teams until they decide they trade you or release you. The players had no control, and you all know about all that. And George Mulligan here played for the Indianapolis Hoosiers, I'm sorry. And this is 1915 Cracker Jack. The Cracker Jacks do showcase some of the Federal League cards and Federal League teams. And coincidentally, the Indianapolis Hoosiers, I didn't realize until I got this card, that the Indianapolis Hoosiers actually won the title in 1914. This is the back of it. I got this card from eBay, and Mangini sent me a text to the links of this, and it was a really good price for the card it is. Pretty good shape. There's some damage on there too, but these Cracker Jacks are very, very thin, and some actually my first raw Cracker Jack. I realize how thin and fragile they are, and very good eye appeal for the over 100 and was now 7 years old, I guess it is, and so he sent me a text. It was a good price on it. It's like, you know what, I don't really want to pay more money on a card right now. So I just put on my eBay watch list. Then all of a sudden, like a day or two later, the buyer put a discount on it. It's like, well, hell, I can't say no now. So I ended up buying it and got it mail. I'm happy with the purchase. I have my first Federal League card in my collection. You know what? You can't have too many original Cracker Jacks in your collection. This is my third Cracker Jack. I have a 1914 and two 1915s. This is like my all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorite pre-war cards. I think when I was a kid, teenage kids, I always thought the Cracker Jacks were the coolest of all the pre-wars, and thought that would be the best ones to have, even though T06 is the most popular and it's still up there, but the Cracker Jacks always seem to have that, how should I say, that eye appeal, that star power, I guess, that you as a kid, like that extra panache, like, wow, a Cracker Jack. So a couple things about the Federal League you may or may not know. You know that it's the 2-year window of the Federal League before they got folded because of financial problems. There was a lawsuit between the MLB, ALNL teams and the Federal Leagues, and there's a lawsuit about reserve clause and such, and player rights and so forth, and it went to court. And Kennesaw Mountain Landis was actually, years before he became the commissioner, was resigning judge, and he kind of sat on it for a while. While he sat on it, the Federal Leagues kind of sieved more money, kind of wasted more money away, and that's being folded. lost and being bought out by the AL NL teams. There's two lasting legs, and then because of that, Kennesaw Mountain Land is presiding over it and did nothing and pretty much helped MLB win the lawsuit. It pretty much put his name in the forefront after the 1919 scandal and the Black Sox scandal. And when they needed a first commissioner, they thought of Kennesaw Mountain Landis first, and that's how probably one major reason he got the job as the first commissioner in baseball. Two lasting legacies of the Federal League that still exist today is that on the field, one is that Weigman Park is still around. You say, who? No, I don't know what Weigman Park. Well, Weigman Park is the ballpark where Chicago Whales used to play, and when the Federal League disbanded, got bought out by the teams, Weigman Park became Wrigley Field. And Wrigley Field, obviously, the friendly confines is still around after a few renovations. It's still around, and on the field, every time you see Wrigley Field, well, that's there because of the Federal Leagues. Off the field, the one team that was on the Federal League team, the Baltimore franchise, was not bought out by anything, so they sued the National League and on behalf of the Federal League, and the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the MLB was not part of the Sherman antitrust laws, and that it was not an interstate commerce but just an entertainment business, and that ruling is still in effect today. And there's government trying to get rid of that ruling. It's been going on. There's people who want to try to get rid of that ruling for years to help become more fair. And the MLB is the only of the major sports that do not or participate or not enveloped into the Sherman antitrust laws. If you want to read about that, all the finance, I'm not a law guy. I don't know all the lawyer specifics and all that stuff. You can read up on your own. But the Sherman antitrust rules and is all applied because of that lawsuit. I think it was 1922, I believe, or so, after the U.S. Supreme Court finally ruled on it. My 1915 Cracker Jack. 1915, you see a lot of them, it's upside down. That's how they, one way to distinguish the 14 and 15 is that upside down. That's why, I guess, how this is supposed to just be displayed in a binder or something rather back in the day. So you see a lot of the cards upside down compared to being this way. 1915 is a little bit more common because 14s were only available in Cracker Jack candy packages. 15 were available with the candy, caramel candy, popcorn, and as a mail order. So 15 is more plentiful. So still quite hard to find. It's quite a bit of expensive, and commons are still probably about 3 digits or so. But anyways, it's a very cool set. Love the colors of these. Classic set, iconic set from the pre-war. Happy add my first Federal League card to my collection. I do want to, part of my baseball collection, I want to get a card. It's kind of hoping for a Federal League, a Buffalo franchise, because last year the Blue Jays were played in Buffalo and Salem Field, and I wanted to get a Buffalo card in my collection. So I wanted to get an old Buffalo Federal League card. So I may not do that. Or I might just get a modern day Buffalo minor league card. I'm not sure, but I want a Buffalo card in my collection. But I'm hoping to get a Federal League Buffalo, maybe Hal Chase. That's probably the best known player back in the day. So there it is, my mail day, my first Federal League, and another Cracker Jack. Very happy to add to my collection. One other new, kind of a cool item, cool note about this. The seller of this, is Larry Frisch Cards. If you were around the hobby long enough, you know Larry Frisch. He used to always have mail order catalogs and used to advertise the SCD and such. And when I bought this card, I got it about a week later in the mail. I got the latest Larry Frisch, or one of the later Larry Frisch catalogs. If you're back in the day in the hobby, back in the 80s, this used to be a big read back in the day, like your own catalog. Like It's like a Sears catalog for the baseball card collector. So I haven't really perused it and looked at prices yet, but you know, it does bring back memories because I think I did buy something back like the 80s or late 80s from them, and perused the catalog back in the days, like when I was a teenager, late teens, like all these older cars I thought I'd never buy, can afford or whatnot. But thank you for watching. Y'all have a good night and stay blessed.